So find the domain of what we call the composite function, f of g. All right, so this is what this looks like in a more traditional form, f composed of g of x. And what this is saying, it's saying let every x in f become g of x, 10 over x. All right. So f of g of x would be, there's a 10, and there's an x. 10 over x. And then there's a plus 10. All right, so here's the deal. You cannot divide by 0. You cannot do it. I can look right here and I can tell you that x cannot be 0. But there is more to it than that. Because in addition to that little denominator in this, what we call nested fraction, all of this cannot be 0. So 10 over x plus 10 can also not be 0. And that's kind of a funny looking equation. What we're going to do is we're just going to x everything. We're going to clear the fraction. X that guy, x that guy, x that guy. X's cancel. So we have 10 plus 10x is not x times 0, 0. Subtract 10. 10x is not 10. Additionally, x cannot be 1. So I learned two things. X can't be 0, x can't be 1. If I like my old set builder notation, x cannot be 0 or 1. If I like interval notation, which I do, I'm negative infinity to 0, unioned with 0 to 1, unioned with 1 to infinity, because I'm everything else. All right, so there's that one. Kind of a scary little problem for the vast majority of the population. Divide x to the fourth plus 625 by x minus 5. You are welcome to use long division or synthetic. It doesn't really matter. Synthetic division, though, doesn't always show things correctly. So I'm going to do long division. Remember, synthetic division is literally not natural division. So to become x to the fourth, I'm going to need an x cubed, right? It's going to be x to the fourth minus 5x cubed. I wrap before I subtract, and I get 5x cubed. Now, to become x cubed, I need 5x squared. I wish I would have wrote smaller. But anyways, 5x cubed minus 25x squared. Wrap before you subtract. I'll make that plus 25x squared. Let's see here. To become 25x squared, I need 25x. And I'll get 25x squared minus 125x. And that'll give me 125x. Now I need 125. So plus 125. And I get 125x minus 625. I really figured that would work its way out, but it sure doesn't, does it? And no, it wouldn't. It actually makes sense. I was plugging in a number. So anyways, that's going to be 1,250. So plus 1,250 pieces of x minus 5. Long division. Let's see, we have compute the discriminant. The discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac piece. And of course, we must be equal to 0. So 6x squared plus 8x plus 7 is a 0. So b is 8, A is 6 and C is 7. And again, I'm going to plug into b squared minus 4ac. I'll have an 8 squared minus 4 times 6 times 7. Let's see what that is. And I got negative 104. Okay, so the rule is about the discriminant. If b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, we have one repeated real solution. If b squared minus 4ac is bigger than 0, we have two real solutions, and they are different. And if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, we have two non-real solutions. So, based on this number, two non-real solutions. Solve the system of equations. This is an easy peasy example. At least I think it is. Oh, actually, looking at this one, it may not be. This one could be kind of rough. I'm going to solve the top equation for x. And then I'm going to take that, and for better or worse, I'm going to put it everywhere I see an x. Then I'm going to do some math. All right, so 2y plus 3 times 2y plus 3 is 4y squared plus 12y plus 9. I just foiled, kids. You can foil. Pause if you need to. Minus 2y squared plus 3y. That's the distributive property. And it's not plus. Almost made a mistake. It's a minus. Minus 3y equal to 20. Let's clean up. We got 4y squared minus 2y squared, which is 2y squared. We have 12y minus 3y, which is going to be 9y. And then we have plus 9 equal to 20. Shift our 20 back over. 9 minus 20 is negative 11. Oh, I feel like that'll factor. Factors of 11, 11, and 1. The outside would make minus 2. 11 minus 2 is 9. So y is negative 11 halves, or y is 1. And then all you have to do is plug into that, and you'll get your x values. And I'm not going to waste time on that. Plug that in, get your x values, and you'll be done with it. Solve the rational inequality. Express the solution set in interval notation. Ugh. Ugh. It's really not that bad. It's really not. If I look at this, this tells me that x is not 1 because you can't divide by 0. That's a big deal. Okay. So I can't be 1. I feel like I can get away with what I'm about to do. Then x minus 1 both sides. 0 times x minus 1 is 0. Cancellation on the left. I have x plus 10 times x minus 8 must be greater than or equal to 0. And if you thought about the graph of this thing, x times x, is x squared, I would have zeros at negative 10 and positive 8. And I'd look something like this. Now, there is this disclaimer that x can't be 1. That is a disclaimer. I'm going to put a hole on the graph. The good news is it's not affecting anything as far as I can tell. Because this is the stuff that's greater than or equal to 0. So x is allowed to be less than or equal to -10. I'm using the equality symbol because I'm greater than. Or x is allowed to be greater than or equal to +8. So if I'm using interval notation, I'm -infinity to -10 bracket union with 8 to infinity. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Next bonus here, we have solve the equation. 32 to the x is 1 over √2. So there's a lot of knowledge going in on a problem like this. First off, √2 is 2 to the 1/2. You got to get that. That's something you got to know. Secondly, you have this guy right here, x to the -n is 1 over x to the n. So 1 over 2 to the 1/2 is exactly this. It is 2 to the -1/2. Think about this rule from right to left, okay? So 32 to the x must equal 2 to the -1/2. 32 is 2 to what power? 4th is 16th, it's 2 to the 5th. 2 to the 5th equals 2 to the -1/2. Sorry, 2 to the 5th to the x. Just leave the x up there in the exponential space. Bases are gone. For this to be true, the exponents must match. 5x is equal to -1/2 divided by 5. So x is -1/10. A lot of stuff going on that one, isn't there? You, by the way, could have also done y1, y2. Just saying, that's doable. This is a tough equation to do by hand. So eventually we'll get to logarithms, and there's a technique called ln both sides. Works wonders. This is coming after Christmas. And we're going to move the exponents out front because some of you know this rule. You have a log a to the r is r log a. So we're going to move the exponent out front. It's a good place to put in parentheses. Then we invoke what's called the distributive property. X natural logs of 4 plus 4 natural logs of 4 is 2x natural logs of 5 plus 5 natural logs of 5. I'm going to put my x's on the left and everything else on the right. So I have an x ln 4 on the left. I'm going to jump this guy over, minus 2x ln 5. The right-hand side possesses 5 natural logs of 5, and we're going to take away 4 natural logs of 4. Then I'm going to use my favorite F word, which is factoring. I'm going to pull the x from natural log of 4, and I'm going to pull it from the 2x ln 5. And now, finally, the opposite of multiplication is division. And that, believe it or not, is your answer. Fun stuff, huh? That's what you got to look forward to. And the last one, write the equation in standard form, then give the center and the radius of the circle. You're going to do this by using a technique called complete the square. Standard form of a circle is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k, plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So I am going to group my x's. I'm going to leave some space. I'm going to group my y's. And I'm already fortunate enough that there's a 3 on the right-hand side because it just needs to stay there. You may or may not remember the complete the square method. I'm going to find b for each one of these. If I'm looking here, b is 6. I cut it in half and I get 3. I square that 3 and I get 9. And I add it to both sides. Now this guy right here would factor as x plus 3 twice. Twice is nice, just means it's squared, which is that piece right there. Here b is 4. I cut it in half. I get 2. I square 2 and I get 4. So I add 4 here and I add 4 here. This guy would be y plus 2 written twice, which is y plus 2 squared. Plus because there's a plus. 3 and 9 is 12, 4 is 16. So my center is at -3, -2. My r squared is 16. That comes from this. So my radius is 4. And that is all the bonus questions. And I think I am now pretty much drained.